Joining us once again in studio, Richard Collier, former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman. Well, Rich, we just had a barrage of people, of photos. I'm surprised you didn't sign something. You know, it was just constant photographs. And we talked during the break, and I want to mention it on air. Do you get approached a lot in public?
Yeah, I do, man. The city has shown so much love. I mean, you know, people come up and say that I'm an inspiration or something. It's really gratifying, man, because I just try to go out and be the best person I can be, you know, and I'm out talking to people, and I go out and speak, you know, to disability groups, and, you know, I speak to children about crimes. I go to schools, and, you know, I'm all over the place. And I just, you know, once this happened to me, it opened my eyes, and you know, it's something greater that I could be doing, you know, and I mean, to me, to go out and help people, because there's a lot of people out there that's hurt, that's been paralyzed, and, you know, they don't know how to cope, you know, because a lot of people feel like maybe their lives are over. But, you know, I'm just here to say, you know, it goes on. You know, I didn't think that I cherish the day that I would be driving again. I mean, I drive now, and I work out, and, you know, I'm all over the place. I'm independent totally, and that's what I work towards. And, you know, I'm just here to tell people that you can do it too.
Yeah, it seems like you're very, very active, like nothing really ever happened to you. And I do want to ask you, what's been the nicest thing that somebody said to you out in public or anywhere?
I actually, what touched me was this guy. He was going to commit suicide, and he read my story, and he said that I saved his life. And, you know, for me, for somebody to tell you that you saved their life.
Well, what do you respond to that? How do you come back with that?
I mean, it just makes you want to keep doing good, you know, because that's deep, you know, for somebody. I mean, I don't think I would save any lives playing football. I love football, and it was a gateway for me to do a lot of good things to provide for my family, and, you know, to do a lot of things that I wanted to do. But, you know, I get a lot of gratification just going out and speaking to the youth, and, you know, shaking hands and doing this, man. It's a good feeling.
Oh, wonderful. Richard Collier joining us in studio. And I know you have, in your free time, enough time to watch football, because we were talking about last night's game, LSU Mississippi State. First off, I need to ask you, you're a Louisiana boy. What is the best meal out of Louisiana that you recommend somebody to have?
My mother's gumbo.
Oh, now is your mother close by to where she can make something and bring it over?
Unfortunately, she's not.
You got me so excited. Oh, I'm not too happy right now. But well, what do you see last night from LSU Mississippi State? Because that was a big matchup, but 19-6 and the Tigers winning it.
I saw that LSU's offense isn't as potent as I thought it was. You know, their running game. They run that I so much, man. I mean, I don't really like that I formation that they run. I think that the defense is very solid. You know, they are right on. Secondary is like a pro secondary. I mean, they're covering guys like blankets, but I think they have a lot to work on, you know, but I think the defense is it's going to carry them for a while.
So often in this part of the country, especially Jacksonville, Florida, we talk about what's better, college football or the National Football League. Are you more a fan of the college game or the pro game?
I like all football, man. I can watch a high school game or a college game. You know, I like watching the pros. I like watching guys that I play with and guys that I know. You know, I'm not really a fan of any team. I just like watching football.
Well, let's look at the Jacksonville Jaguars also, because they've had some, not necessarily issues with their offensive line, but the things that have stood out. We've seen left tackle Eugene Monroe. He's been playing at a lighter weight at left tackle, your former position. Compared to 2010, he's much lighter, I think 15, 20 pounds lighter. You played at 345. What's the biggest issue? You're playing at a lighter weight on the blind side. What's the issue there? What's the biggest problem? When
you want to anchor down, you know, it's kind of harder to anchor when you're lighter like that. I mean, he needs to put some weight on and give him a little more oomph when he tries to stop the rush. Because, you know, guys get under you, those short guys, and they'll bull rush you right into the quarterback. You know, I like Eugene. He's a good player. I think he does need to gain a little weight, though.
And so often with the left tackle and even the right tackle, your bookends, there's a lot of talk of either footwork or handwork, hand placement. What do you see from Eugene Monroe? Is it good footwork? Does he need work on his hands? What needs to work better for him?
He needs to work on his inside hand. They beat him a lot inside. Every time I've seen him get beat, it's from the inside, and you never want to get beat on the inside as a tackle. That's the only place you don't want to get beat. I'd much rather you run around me than run inside of me. So he needs to just work on the inside.
Now, when you played, was there one guy, maybe a Dwight Freeney or a Robert Mathis, somebody that you went up against and you thought, oh, geez, not one of these. Oh, please help me. Let's end this game quick.
I remember playing Carolina, and that's when Peppers was still there.
Ooh. Oh.
And I remember coming out, and I was going against Rucker. I wasn't going against Peppers. Rucker was there at the time. So I was nervous my first snap, and I blocked him. A couple of plays I blocked him. So I got to talking a little noise, and but every time I get in the huddle, I look and see where Peppers was, see if he was on my side or not. I just remember being just awestruck, because he was like one of my favorite players. And like after the game, I was walking on the side of him, and I was like, do I want to speak to him? Hey man, how you doing? So yeah, it was pretty cool. But it was a lot of good players. I know Mario Williams. He was pretty solid.
Mm-hmm. It must have been one of those games where your fingers cramped up so much because you're crossing your fingers saying, no Peppers, no Peppers, oh please, not today. Well, also with the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive line, and speaking to Richard Collier right here in studio, Miller on Sports, we've got the right tackle, Evan Britton. He's been dealing with that herniated disc in his back. He was doing some power squats, power lifts. As a former offensive lineman, how often were you working out each week? Because I know each day there's something new to do, something different that you have scheduled. What's the workout for a typical offensive lineman during the season?
You work out about 2 or 3 times a week, man. You want to, after the season starts, you just want to maintain the strength that you gained in the off season, which is a different, animal this year because I don't know how much guys have been working out, without OTAs and all. It's easy to just say I'm not going to work out today when you don't have to.
Right.
So, I'm not saying that he hasn't been working out, but it's just a difference when you have to go in and have a certain amount of workouts and versus not being monitored. I know me personally, I never like to miss workouts. I love working out, and you just, getting that strength. Like, I like working out now.
And 2 weeks ago, a huge announcement for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a one-day contract for former running back Fred Taylor. Many great years in Jacksonville. I'm sure he'll be up there along with Tony Baselli inside Everbank Field. When I say Fred Taylor, what's your first memory of the running back?
Just a cool guy, man. Me and Fred sat right next to each other in the team meeting room. So, I always talked to Fred every day when he was there. And, he was just such a cool guy, never said a bad thing. He always was helpful. He's just like a cool, he's always soft-spoken, but when he speaks, people listen, so he was a cool guy.
And I have to imagine, because he has, I think, 6 or 7 years on you, you're the younger guy, the undrafted free agent. He's the veteran. He's seasoned. Was there any bits of information he gave you, not about life on the field, but maybe life off the field, too?
He was just always, speak about saving your money and, invest in some stuff and, giving you tips about what you should do. I never had Fred Taylor's money, but he was always helpful, man. If you ever needed advice from a lot of those guys, I still talk to a lot of those guys. I spoke with Marcus Stroud the other day. Those guys are, they were always helpful when you needed some help, with something, with whatever, where to go, where to live, where to move, all kind of stuff. They were just all helpful guys. Playing back then with that team, it was a lot of guys on the team that were really cool.
We've seen a lot of predictions so far with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Not really that good. I think the average is really 7 or 9 or maybe 6 and 10. Do you have a prediction for this Jacksonville Jaguars team in 2011?
Well, I did over or under of 7. I said over 7, but not too far over.
Not too far over. An 8-8 season, possibly?
I think that. It's so unknown, man. With McCown, I have to see a few more games to really see. I would say probably about an 8-8 season.
And real quick before we go to break and we let you go, and again, thank you for your time. The offensive line, a lot of it was brought up with David Garrard that he just wasn't getting that protection. Did you feel like that was a fair assessment, that his protection wasn't really there all the time?
I wouldn't put it all on the offensive line. David is a quarterback that holds the ball quite, longer than a lot of guys. So, a lot of that was probably him, but the offensive line could have protected better.
Richard Collier, former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman, in studio. Rich, thanks for your time, and there's always a mic crack for you in this studio. Thanks again.
Thank you.
There he goes, Richard Collier, former Jacksonville Jaguars offensive lineman. A lot of fun right here on Miller on Sports. More. I'm on Miller on Sports, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, at Miller on Sports. We'll talk some college football coming back. A lot of big games, FSU, Oklahoma, Florida, Tennessee, and more. Miller on Sports right after this.